what's your relationship with money? I was like, excuse me, sir? What does that mean? Sorry, my English wasn't able to take me there to read between the lines. Is there something you meant else? I'm not kidding. And I remember you're saying you're asking, hey, Mickey, do you see yourself in there's some money or water? Do you see yourself in a cup? Is it half full? It's just a little bit? Or it's like a tub? Or it's like a swimming pool? What do you feel? The size of it? What does it look like? Damn, that's a tough question. It is so simple, but it's tough. Because literally at the time, I think my belief system was still in a big awe that I couldn't answer it. For another 5-6 weeks, I had to really look inward to think about, man, that's when I realized, wow, I had such a low self-esteem. It was actually shameful. It doesn't matter if I'm a millionaire or not, but I feel like I'm not worth anything.
Today is our returning guest, Mickey Liu, serial entrepreneur and creative brand strategist. What's transpired in the past 2 years since his first interview? From learning and embracing the concept that money is energy, to discussing the differences between surfing a wave versus creating a wave, you'll definitely want to tune in to hear Mickey's 2.0 transformation. Let's cue the intro. Welcome to the Boom Vision Podcast, the show that empowers you to live an enriching life physically, mentally, and spiritually. I am your host, Benjamin Ye, and I created this podcast to give you perspectives on how to strengthen your mindset so that you can build optimal health, create aligned wealth, and connect with your higher self. It's all interconnected. Let's get to work. Hi, folks. Welcome to episode 53 of the Boom Vision Podcast. I'm stoked to invite back a returning guest, Mickey Liu. Back in episode 10, Mickey shared his evolution starting as a creative artist to a serial entrepreneur. What's transpired these past 19 months? Now that we've been working together for over 2 years, I felt it would be wonderful for him to share how his journey has evolved and how this Wavemaker is attracting new waves into his life. As a brief background, Mickey is a serial entrepreneur and a creative brand strategist. He's built 5 companies, with 3 of them reaching 7 figures, and exiting 2 companies to have time to build a family and raise kids. Having a solid knowledge of helping entrepreneurs and startups go from 0 to 1 or 1 to 10 with his 25 plus years of experience, Mickey's crafted a methodology that he calls the Life Tree Mastery, where he consults, strategizes, and coaches to help his clients' vision align with a strategy map, battle map, and action plans as the core foundation. The beginning of 2023 is when Mickey started a new physical company to solve the market gap between physical goods and a digital world. So without further ado, here's Mickey Liu. Mickey, welcome back to the Boom Vision Podcast. Thanks for having me in your studio today.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Taiwan, and I hope this country and the food treats you well.
Definitely. I mean, it's such a special treat because we're actually having this conversation in your personal studio here in Taiwan. And it's just great to reconnect with you in person for after over 20 years.
Yes, definitely. Wow. I think giving that big warm hug, I think, there's includes many appreciation, a lot of things, and just a lot of joy, and of course, passing down the energy. And I think it's the beginning of what's something much bigger to come. And along this journey, to have you as a mentor, accountability partner, as a checking point or where my intuition and my soul, where the mentality is at. And I think that's such a very valuable asset to have in especially today's noisy world. And then so for that, thank you.
Yeah, I felt that, man. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Nikki. So let's just dive right in, man. To bring our audience up to speed, we had you on the show in episode 10 back in December 2021. And so share a little bit about what's new with you in this past 19 months.
I think I have what we call the middle crisis. Yes, I had a 7-figure business that was running great at the time, yet I was feeling really, really hollow on the inside. For one, I didn't have a personal purpose. I was living day by day. It was sort of safe, comfortable, and I realized I no longer have a passion. And there wasn't really a hobby because I had 2 kids, twin, and they took a lot of energy and bisect my remaining time, the uses of time, that demanding me of my focus. And that all make it hard for me to think of something fun, enjoy for myself, to explore, to learn, and to grow. And so this 19 months in the beginning of it was tremendously tough in terms of learning how to be a new role as a dad and as a businessman who want to build something that feel much fitting to the soul. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds like a voodoo type of saying, but I do feel it that I do not enjoy or nor like a company that I have built, even all the previous companies, because I feel like it doesn't serve the world. It does make money making. That does provide value for the corporates that I serve. Yes. However, as a society and as a human being progressing forward, I always wish that all my learnings and abilities I'm able to put together and to create creative solution, so to speak, to solve a bigger problem, to maybe like a movement, like all the predecessors that help move the society forward. I don't know how. And that vision wasn't even in my book until we met, we talked, and I started to look inwards. And at the time, there's a lot of noise outside, a lot. I was having internal conflict, relationship conflict, financial conflict, business conflict. It was everywhere. I'm a mess. And I think over the 19 months, you helped me clean up, prioritize, and re-bucket list it, and tackle one by one so that I have the big blocks removed. And I slowly, in the fog, found this clarity of path that but the soul, the higher self of me, as it seems, that's telling me where I would be happy and where I would be amazing, where I should be in my zone of genius. And I feel that's been really amazing to really slowly transforming to that stage. And so this year, January 1st, I decided such a harsh pivot to my company and focus on this new entrepreneur startup ideas of physical, meaning bridging the physical and the digital worlds together. And I feel there's tremendous value and opportunities to provide for the society, all the goods in a sustainable way. And, with all that said, it might be just like, what is Nikki talking about? And that's okay, because I am still in a problem-solving role and trying to see the world sees as a problem, but can I have a creative outlet for that to wrap it and turn that around to become something else, massively powerful. And it is scary for this, I think, 5-6 months of stepping into that now. And for that, I have to talk with companies around the world, literally like Poland, Ukraine, UK, China, New York, Paris, Milan, I talk to companies around the world just for the ideas, pursuit of finding the question and to be answered. And I would not have the power, the drive to do it without you hitting you so hard, I think last year with this massive question. And I mean, very recently you asked me, what's your relationship with money? I was like, excuse me, sir? What does that mean? Sorry, my English wasn't able to take me there to read between the lines. Is there something you meant else? I'm not getting it. And I remember you're saying you're asking, hey, Mickey, do you see yourself in there's some money or water? Do you see yourself in a cup? Is it half full? It's just a little bit? Or it's like a tub? Or it's like a swimming pool? What do you feel? The size of it? What does it look like? Damn, that's a tough question. It is so simple, but it's tough. Because literally at the time, I think my belief system was still in a big awe that I couldn't answer it. For another 5-6 weeks, I had to really look inward to think about, man, that's when I realized, wow, I had such a low self-esteem. It was actually shameful. It doesn't matter if I'm a millionaire or not, but I feel like I'm not worth anything. After the reflection of that, at the same time, I'm working on this project, trying to find ideas and run through a gazillion ideas, interesting ideas of possibilities. And there's one idea that we came across. And you say, wow, this could be a $20 million idea. And I think my head just exploded. I had never thought in my life that, with the limiting belief that, I have built multiple $1 million or 7-figure businesses, yet I have never thought about going to 8-figure or beyond. And so when you throw like that idea, at the same time, I was so excited there was approval from you, which I seek highly of. But at the same time, I have no idea how to get there because my previous experience, if I'm going to base on my previous experience or accomplishment, it stops there. Oh my God, I need a complete new system, new framework, new work. And that I feel is one of the keys that have opened the door to starting the transformation that I went through today. And with that said, before I would say, first week, I'm like a little cup. The second week, I think I'm worth, I use the word worth, maybe a bigger cup, like a pen. Oh, the third week, no, I think I've done this and that. You reflect on 20 plus years of projects and things you conquer and done, right? Things you have achieved or help people achieve. And then maybe I'm like a bathtub size. And then I was pushing more over, nah. I'm like a small swimming pool, kids swimming pool. And I think there's that one time where something strike and I realized that, no, money is a frequency. And it just means I'm not pushing myself hard enough at the problem that I want to solve. And for that 1 week, it's such weird what the intuition tells you. I've been hitting from my Facebook video messagings, Twitter messagings, and YouTube video, even the glimpse of books that I flip and just read occasionally. It all pointed on this subject matter. And I was in awe. I was like, okay, my intuition is pounding really hard and providing a lot of signals in my daily lives to pinpoint the way. I must do something about it. And I spent another couple of days to reimagine, okay, money is frequency, is electricity, it passed through all this. I don't own it, but it goes to me. And if I double down on the quest, and then the doubling down is I think the problem, the imagined solution of the world is not big enough. Let me go 100 times harder. Let me pick a bigger battle than what I'm about. Why I'm already scared of that. And it's so weird. When you pick a battle, you feel like you have a chance. And you have a little scare, but you're sort of in the comfort zone. But when it's 100 times, it's beyond scare. It's like desperately, impossibly no. Yet, I'm able to challenge it because I see it as a pass-through energy. And so, what money is after I break the spell is that, okay, if I'm able to solve this societal side problem, yeah, the money or the frequency, it's only a byproduct of it. And there's plentiful out there. And that broke the spell. And so I came back to you one day and said, okay, yeah, coach, like a month and a half ago, you asked me a question. Yeah, now I feel like it's infinite. And that took a month and a half to have my money container belief system worked inside out and directly changed. And so there's all the action that followed. It becomes everything it's all a gesture of, exchange of energy. And whether it was word, whether it was actual gift products, whether it was service, whether it was knowledge, whether it was experiences, as gifts, and when you think it that way, it's like, how do I want to give the energy to you? Do I send it to you for you to keep? Or I pass it to you to empower you? It can be used in many ways. And when you think about that, the life itself becomes so many more playful. So much more fun.
Yeah. I can see your face. I can feel it. So, wow, you covered quite a bit there. And there's a couple things I just want to highlight of what you just shared, Mickey. One is when you said about your zone of genius, when you said about our conversation about the, money is energy and what is your money container in terms of how passive it is. Like when you said those two things and it helped me revisit those conversations, like I literally feeling the vibe in my whole body. But there's one thing I want to bring up just as a slight correction on what you said before I forget, which is that I feel it's coming from a place of love, so I totally get it. But you were saying about from saying, hey, I feel this is energy of 20 million, and you're saying like part of it is like, my approval of that. Like I just want to say it out there. You really don't need my approval, right? Like it's, as much as I understand it's coming from a place of love, it's that I am grateful to be able to amplify the light they have within you. And so the approval of it is just a construct that I think is unnecessary.
I think the Mickey at that moment in time need that number to get the big shock and to really think about and throw all the old habit and behavior and thinking. You start the brand new. They need that. But when I said about approval, because at that time, you're someone that I look up to and trusted heavily. And so for some of that, it gives that validation that I need to really, really dive in and rethink of this. But not per se the number, because the number doesn't really matter. I think coming from you, doesn't really, but rather is the shaking, the beginning of germinating that belief system transformation. I think that's the key.
Yeah, and to add on what you just shared, it's you heard me say the concept of SOS, or subconscious operating system.
Yeah,
the programming you had installed in your subconscious when it comes to relates to money, when it comes to relates to the businesses you've grown, homegrown, right? I mean, for the bootstrap, is I saw the consistent pattern of like, you were really good at bringing it to 7 figures, but how come the trend didn't reach to 8 figures? And that's what prompted me to ask, well, when the concept that money is energy, did you have a programming in your SOS that anchored it at 7?
It did.
And if you just unlock that or, just reinstall a new one, what would that look like? And I think you doing that inner reflection, that work, first bring that awareness. Oh, wait, I might have that reoccurring programming of SOS of 7 figures, but just also to conceptualize and visualize, what does that look like? Is it a cup? Is it a swimming pool? Whatever it is. The size of it doesn't matter as much as it is just recognizing how much of the boundaries you've currently set yourself in, and are you willing to expand it? Because some people might not be ready for that. Because going back to, again, money is energy. If you're not ready for a massive amount, even an incremental amount, then it doesn't matter if you can see it, but if you don't relate to it, resonate with it, feel it, your body feeling it, your mind feeling it, then you're not going to really get there, or you're not going to sort of feel like you're always just running an uphill battle. But something shifted where it didn't feel like it's an uphill battle anymore, right? So tell me a little more of like, when did you realize, oh wait, I'm above that current hill now? You definitely see the vision and direction, but what made it not feel it's a constant uphill battle?
Yeah, it has to do with last year still in discussion with many ideas. And it's sort of the battle of the side brain and right side. Right? So the creative side, okay, let's do this, and so exciting. And then the other side, it's like, nope, this financially not working, this not working, my market size too small, yada yada. And I think the shift is when that zone of genius pops out and say, these are boring. You're out here to do unique things. No one has ever touched the land that people haven't touched. And that's going to be where you're going to be amazing. And so I scrapped pretty much all the idea. And going back on the drawing board, in your mind, it's like, okay, what's no man's land? Because that's called empty space. And that's called huge marketplace in terms of if you reverse think it. And when I think about that, then it's like, oh, there's this and that I'm heavily interested in. And I feel like a lot of people are exploring, but there's certain ways philosophically thinking of that topic. No one's not touching it. And because to validate that, I spent a couple of weeks to discuss, and search global, internet, and also talk with companies globally to validate the idea, right? And to find out it is true. It's like, wow, okay, I'm gonna fight to solve this really unknown area because the reward is definitely there. And so earlier on, we had a discussion about, catching a wave. And I realized that all my past companies, projects, it's all about trying to catch a wave or ride a wave that people set for you. But now, it's instead I go to a nowhere, no man's land, and a beautiful beach, beautiful water, and no one's surfing there. And because it's like a new place and time, I just need to sharpen my skill set. So I'm ready for that. But the preparation is much simpler because unlike before, I have to constantly observe and look at the external complexity. And that's uncontrollable, unpredictable. And that screw up your flow. It warps it. It gives you bad energies, mood swing. However, I'm this new play that I've created for myself. I don't have a competitor. Time is irrelevant. Time is on my side. It's working with me. I can take the sweet time to develop, and I can look inwards. If I'm catching a wave, do I have the right board? Is my footing right? Can I practice to breathe longer underwater, etc., etc. Just getting the incrementing, leveling up of every aspect, working on my own, on myself. Another way of saying investing in yourself without concerning others or external, uncontrollable conditions. And that, I think, is what brings the most joy. Now, you're happy working every day, and you're laser focused because opportunity like this doesn't come often. And so what that said is it can be a waymaker. And so from following a follower, and I can become a leader in this movement or in this wave and be a waymaker. And I think that is the biggest difference in change.
So there's two things you said that I want to highlight. One is your zone of genius, because getting to know you, particularly in this last 2 years, Mickey, is that your zone of genius, when you're in that creative flow, in that flow state, I feel, thrive, and you're like researched in energy when you are charting new territory and seeing where people are heading towards, right? Where either
not just trends, but just what energy is kind of moving towards. And that might not be the same for everyone, because some people going through no man's land might be a very terrifying thought. But it's because you have done that self-reflection to understand that, no, this is authentically you. This is where your zone genius is, and you're willing to lean in on it with courage. That is like doubling down on yourself. But it may not necessarily be the same formula for everyone. But it's just really understanding where the question you ask yourself, where is my zone of genius? But to also acknowledge this is where my boundaries are right now. Doesn't mean it can expand, right? And so that's one distinction I wanted to highlight. The other one is you're talking about which problem to solve, but it's also, being a solution creator, right? Like how big of a solution can I personally handle, but also that the world really needs, right? And in this pursuit of it, of understanding that there's energy behind the direction I'm going, there's energy behind what I can currently handle, and how do I get into that alignment of that, right? Like, I'm wondering, how was your relationship with energy when you look back 3 years ago versus what's your relationship with the word now? Because, we're talking about energy, and it's ironic because we, off camera, we've talked about this earlier today, which is like, if I had started my first conversation with you about, hey, everything's energy.
Yeah, I want to be like voodoo.
So I'm curious, if you had to look back, what was your relationship with the word energy, but what is it now in this present moment? What do you think got you here?
Okay, that's a beautiful question. And I think at the time, 19 months ago, it was muddy. Muddy is a good word because as a creative person, I have a lot of wants and needs and desires, and each of the thoughts are frequency. Not all are positive and healthy. Some are like a virus. They grip onto you because of your ego, and they eat on you. They suck on you and they eat on you. The longer if you don't shake it off, it takes a toll on you without you knowing. So that's why I say muddy. And let's say if I have a bag of thoughts, and it becomes heavy on the shoulder, left and right, and on the back. And I didn't know because they're invisible, because they're made of thoughts. And none of them are followed by action. So they cannot be taken off, cannot be shaken off. And so I think the biggest realization is understand what they are. Pull them out. They came out of the shadow. They're not lurking in the dark. They are visible because I can feel it through my intuition lens. And then I started to decide, okay, this gives me energy. This doesn't. This one's dangerous. This one takes my energy away. And slowly the bucket list of ego and let's start to purify. It cleans up a lot more. And to a point where the biggest change when you open the key by asking the question, the money container. I think that belief system, once it's altered or reprogrammed, sky's the limit, and I become razor focused, which is one project, one frequency, and it's very, very strong. And so being able to distill, like to say, 25 different frequencies in my head to just one clean and strong, firm belief frequency, I think that has been the journey for these 19 months.
So to break it down for our audience, can you give an example of, you were going through that phase of, it feels like it's mud. And sometimes you might have these bag of thoughts or these things that come into your life where on the surface, it might be like, oh, there's a good opportunity, but maybe I'm paraphrasing the words you use, but it's almost like leeching off of your energy a little bit. It's really draining you rather than really replenishing you. Can you give an example that you can think of that would help drive home that metaphor for our audience?
Right. You always come and there will be good friends of a friend, and they came and with unfiltered thoughts, they look at you, you're good at what you do, you're specialized. So they see you can be used. And so they came with not a pure intention. And that's invisible. So you could be looking at the exterior of this man, and they can sugarcoat, sweet talk all they want, and you'll buy into it because you do not see their intention. You cannot feel their intention because it's invisible. And the frequency of that is very unclear. And so your mood, your frequency will be controlled, manipulated by this man based on the way he can use certain words and scenarios to set you up, to tune up your frequency for the direction that he intended you to go. But that's not where your heart tells you to go. And now, with the radar up of my own intuition, it has sent from the itsy-bitsy, scratchy little sound into something that's heart-pounding, that really alert like an alarm clock. You could spot these men miles away and save yourself lots of agony. And I think this new skill set's definitely not taught in school, definitely not taught in business setting. This is a work of inward. And so only when you look inwards and when you practice like a regular, go to gym, of course, this doesn't come naturally. 19 months ago, I don't have any of that. I don't. And it's when I really look inwards. And when you look inward, there's so many layers like an onion. You're going to peel it and peel it. And when all the belief system in every asset is organized, prioritized, the way you should be, naturally should be, but it just, because of external environment, it makes you tweak the setting a little bit off. Then you don't have that sensitivity. And you're just looking at the opportunity rather than anything else. It's not even about ego, and it's not about, you have a million tools how to gauge this opportunity. But it's more on just the gut feeling.
Yeah.
To be able to tell, like, okay, this person initially had a great intention. Sometime down the line, somebody said to this man, the intention's a little different now. I should be a little aware, and maybe a couple marks down. I have a gut feeling. Wow, this project that I'm involved is gonna be hurtful. I should avoid. And so this signal, kind of going to the gym, needs to be practiced. And you will not even start if you don't look inwards.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mileage and practice to go.
Yeah. I want to add on to what you just said too, Mickey, is that part of the spider senses, right? The intuition senses. What I found helpful for me in my journey, I've had my experiences and lessons as well. And what my spider senses help me look out for is talking about energy and frequency in the context of intentions and opportunities. So when an opportunity comes my way, opportunity ABC, a new partnership ABC, whatever, fill in the blank, whatever that is, then whoever's bringing it to me or however it's showing up in my life, I didn't know how to look for it before, but what I look for now is that opportunity the what? Is how we get there, and the why, the intention, is if frequency and energy consistent all throughout, or is there displacement?
Yeah.
And when there's displacement, it's like ding, ding, ding. Okay, maybe the spaces are being flagged, right? And the thing is that these three things can also evolve over time. And so it's just good as a gut check. Is it in the higher frequency of what it's aligned, or is it not? And when it's not, that's when typically I'll be like, I'm just feeling in my gut. What's going on here? And kind of have to do this reflection. But I just wanted to break it down for our audience of like that formula of the why, the intention, how you want to achieve the what. These three things, is it in alignment or not? That helped me really look through and look past not just the words of what's being described to it, because, words can be sugar-coated, but the intention and how you get there and the actions you're taking there, okay, there needs to be some continuity and consistency. And if not, then there might be a reason why.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think those are the actual signals when there's no consistency and follow through the original why and intention.
Yeah.
Right? You could say one thing like, your how or what doesn't follow that why.
Yeah.
Something fishy there. But sometimes they can mesmerize you with what they said. So it still will be helpful, besides that, to have your intuition to be assisted on the sideline for you to really find out the truth.
Yeah. You mentioned two really powerful tools that you've really nurtured in the last 2 years, right? Which is leaning in to hone in on your intuition and also about intention, setting intention.
Yes.
And we talked about this multiple times throughout in the last 2 years. Share with the audience of how you benefited in utilizing these tools.
Wow, that I definitely am a newbie and not expert at this, but I think starting out with loving life, that's the very basic form. And when you love life, you love people, not just dear ones, but strangers even. You want to care for them. You want to provide help. And the word I like to use is called empower. You know, if I'm on this earth for a certain purpose and I went through a lot of struggles and suffering to gain certain things, I'm willingly, happily give those away so they do not have to go through the same stuff. And I think looking at other entrepreneurs and startups and projects and people in the suffering as I had, having able to shine light to empower them to go through, I think that gives me power, then gives me the courage and the energy to move forward. Now, when you do that, of course, you will meet certain people, men, that doesn't have the right intention when they come to you. Because when you open your arms out openly, that means your chest is open. You could be stabbed in the front, stabbed in the back. You're not guarded. You're not protected. So the only way to protect yourself is actually use a different type of defense system. That's called intuition. It's like you have this invisible spider web in the open out space. Anybody with a bad intention coming out at you at any distance, your intuition is going to make a sound, make an alert, and let you know that certain degree that you should watch out and you should maybe stay away or you should just totally ignore.
Yeah.
And I think having practiced that a few times, I think once I would say master it, but I think it really saves a lot of agony that you didn't have to face. And so I think what the biggest thing is setting a blessing and empowering intention for the world, for everybody around you. And like the same frequency, the right people will attract, who will come to you. And just recently, I think I've nourished this new gay skill set to a degree where every day I've been finding new resources that I would not have dreamed or wouldn't have had to. And they just show up almost in your doorstep. I know this sounds really bizarre, but for instance, I love technology and I've been looking at the Apple Vision Pro. I was like, maybe if I could just get to learn about this. Then all of a sudden a friend's going to introduce me somebody's company work for that project, Vision Pro, the sound department. I was like, great, I'd love to meet and get to understand that, right? Or I look at the YouTube and I found this young Asian kid. Wow, he's at the Apple Center, the donut place. Ooh, he had the YouTube, he's talking with Tim Cook and his insights on the design and the spatial computing for Apple Pro Vision is on a different level. I was like, wow, I wish I could meet this guy. And then I look into it. Oh my God, we went to the same school. I was like, okay, I could definitely reach out. There's no harm. And so there's a lot of these are just popping out when your mind is heading to somewhere and certain people, specialists, resources, companies, they just show up along the way. And, I want to learn about AI. and there's programmer that just show up, and we're gonna be helping each other grow.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, when your intention is set and you actually exercise and practice it, and you give the blessing to everything around you, that chi or the energy has a beautiful flywheel and attracts the like mind that has the same energy.
When I think of how I define surfer is, regardless if you're a beginner or an expert, is that you have a sense of when a wave's coming and you know the techniques and how to ride it. But part of it is timing, perhaps part of it's luck, but also being able to identify, well, where are the good waves in this beach or wherever the location may be, and kind of time it right to be able to ride it, right? Some of that is in your control, and maybe a lot of it is not. How I define a wave maker is, wait, you're almost attracting new things into your life now. It's a very different sensation versus a waiting game versus I'm going to bring that reality to me. And why I want to make that clarification on this question is because I've noticed in this year, really, when you've changed your direction and in 2023, there's more instances rather than one-offs where like you might think something and literally within a few days, well, it's 24 hours, it just comes into your life, right?
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to share with that your experience a little bit of that distinction between a surfer and now you're a wave maker that are attracting things into your life. And then hearing your journey, I'd love to share kind of the imagery that came to me as I listened to you.
Great. Okay. This is the actual thing I'm building. It's merging or bridging physical goods with all the digital world. Now, with that said, I don't know how to do it. I'm confused. And I should be, because there's no predecessors. There's no examples out there, globally speaking. So with that direction, I'm out to the point where, okay, I got some part of a structure down that I could move it forward. Now I'm missing one biggest thing. It could be so new, it's against normal consumers' behavior pattern. And that is the biggest thing, because the education cost is so high, it's ridiculous. It's not for somebody who's an average Joe with my cash on the line. No, this might even require billions of dollars and still would fall. So to think of this, and I was projecting my problem into the universe, and on the back burner, the creative side, creative solution to try to generate. And the first signal I noticed is a couple videos I saw about this Asian Korean dude that worked with Jessica Alba to form the Honest Company. And his theory is, you want to set out a brand new thing, the easiest thing to find a celebrity with global impact, so you could uplift it much quicker than normally building a brand. And he did that with a couple of different project instances. Dr. Drake with the beat, same thing. And so I was looking at these couple cases, and that feels like the universe telling me, hey, this could be a way. So out of the blue, I pulled a team together and had an interview. All of a sudden, out of blue, it feels like it's not running from my logic brain. It just me all of a sudden say like, oh, I think I need a global impact, someone that has 50 million global fans. And the way I said it, I was like, that's what the hell am I talking? Like, this is way out of proportion. It's like, hey, mom and dad, I'm gonna go to Mars and come back. It's way out of blue, way out of my league. And be surprised the very next day, having work and help a lot of people, someone that I helped it with called and say, oh yeah, I got contacted by the manager of this celebrity. They want to do something in Asia. And I look out, I was like, holy cow, this guy has like 80 million fans globally. Crazy. And so I was looking at it like, wow, the universe is slowly plotting me to see certain things and certain resources come my way. is guiding me. Of course, I had to work hard, but it's guiding me to be able to see it. So before, the way I work is this. Okay, I need this project. I'm going to, based on my knowledge experience, divide it into tasks, work blocks, and I got to figure out the work constraints, capability fitness, the risk factors, and then who can I send it out to? And so I vetted out like a dozen companies, talents, and specialists, and then interview them and whatnot, and look at the portfolio, look at the past history, and probably most of it still would flop, given this way, because I am dividing up the work. I am trying to solve this problem myself, based on my limited knowledge. Doesn't matter how much I got, but still limited. But now I'm telling the universe, hey, I got this gigantic problem I'm solving. Help, I need help. And they send amazing people along the way. And I don't really no longer have to vet their capability because they're definitely well equipped to solve whatever I throw at them. And that's very, very different. It's finding people, and maybe these people can solve, most likely not, or partially solve. You still have like problems afterwards. And now it's people are sent to you because you're attracted to the way you're manifesting and your intention is set and the frequency is tuned and attracting that kind of resources and people around you to you. And that's a whole new way of working. So now I literally just use the intuition and the imagination as the portal to paint the future. And then I don't pray. I mean, I'm not, I don't pray, but I make the wish list and then I watch closely the little snippets of information that pops out in my life. And I fall down the rabbit hole. And then there we go. What I need is right there within reach. And it's quite magical that way. And so, as I've shared with you that it didn't happen once, it happened almost a couple times every week.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous, I think.
Yeah.
So I think magic, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
First of all, I definitely felt what you just said. And the way I'll describe it is this, is that I feel just observing your journey in this past year, particularly, Mickey, is that one key difference in that crossover between being a surfer versus being a wave maker is that, first of all, you recognize and start using the language that, okay, things are energy. Things do have frequency. Okay, so what does that mean? And how does that relate to my life? And how do I operate in that paradigm? That's one. The second is that, well, if I have a certain energy that I am projecting, my physical, my mental, whatever, my spiritual being, then who is it that I want to work with, collaborate with, and attract? And the one thing I feel, because you mentioned this earlier about joy, when you wake up grateful and you have this newfound joy and light, the visual that I see when you said that is like, hey, I have a very clear light bulb that I'm now using in my flashlight to be able to project the light that I want. And joy is very bright. Joy is a very high frequency. I would put joy and love in a very similar wave. And with that, now knowing what powers you and what makes you joyful, and with the intention of always giving, oh, wow, okay. Now when you have a thought, now when you declare out loud, hey, I need this to solve for this, I need this to create this solution, then things somehow just pop into your life and give you those signals or that people or opportunity. Yeah. Because that's the difference that I see. Because I don't know if that vocabulary of joy was in your day-to-day conversations a year ago or even, prior to that. And so I just wanted to bring that up because I feel that knowing what it is that, hey, I'm not going to wait until I achieve revenue X or making this much money, then I'll feel joy. Because then it's almost like that light bulb is a facade. It's a placeholder. But no. Once I see the light, then I'll then I'll get it. No. Like, you kind of feel it within, because your intuition, everything is kind of connected to what is the light and energy I'm projecting outwards.
Yeah.
But is your light bulb hazy, or is it very crystal clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that resonate with you in that imagery? Or?
Yeah, it definitely. And I think I just want to add to that, one way to strengthen your energy is to alter your surroundings.
Tell me more. What do you mean by alter?
When you're doing the transformation, there is the old habitat, old thought process, old belief system that constantly want to grip you and then pull you back to the old self. And so there are times when what you need is to change up, having a new makeover to your work environment or your most stayed or most hour spent place, to give it a new state where you come in. It's sort of like, I see this, I am being programmed to be the best version of yourself. Right at that seat, because everything is planned with a full intention to be the best version that you can be. However, if you don't do that, or your surroundings, like your intention is set, but the surrounding is the old, that reminiscent of the old doing, it's going to slowly drag you, and you're going to have that conflict. Sort of like the identity conflict of the old Mickey and the new Mickey, old self and the new self fighting for the identity, control. So I do want to add that to that. I believe, when I start to, do little things in my life, wow, it changes. For instance, when I'm in my studio, I feel like, hey, I need a green. It doesn't have a light knot. When I can't grab one of those green things, we're in plants, and put it on next to the computer. It feels like at least it's not all technology stuff around. There's some breathing to it, right? Okay, I need certain things that what is the things I believe the most. Then I try to find a poster that talks about dream. And I bought it from a amazing artist from Malaysia, and frame and put it up. Every time I look at that, it's like, that's a beautiful piece of artwork. I enjoy it. It's sort of things, items, utilities, stationaries, anything you look at it, it gives you joy. It powers you up like a battery. That's what you should be having around you. Anything that's neutral, take it out. Anything that's reminiscent of the old, you could still have it, but put it away on the different side of the wall, away from where you're building the transformation.
Out of sight.
Out of sight.
Yeah.
Out of place.
Yeah.
So that's like one caveat I will add.
Got it. So, Mickey, what advice can you share with our audience for those that are learning how to catch or surf their own waves in life? After one's journey of self-mastery, so you may already know how to surf, but now if you're seeking the right wave, if you have this desire to be a wave maker, right? Like, what advice can you share to the audience in that trajectory of whether you're a self-mastery or this concept of being a wave maker? What is one or two steps or advice you can share with the audience in that pursuit?
I think this is not a race. So everybody's at our own time and timeline. And so the first thing is, when you look inwards and you begin to love yourself for the weirdo area of yourself, the fanatic or the crazy part of self, good, that's all beautiful, because that's the source of your power. And so when you come from your inwards, the very truth of yourself, looking outwards, projecting to the world, and you try to imagine it, and you're going to say it out, that is your truth, you believe, but for others, they're going to ban you, and they're going to slay you, and they're going to say, no, I cannot be done. Great, that you're on something. Because that is a truth that you project onto the world. To you, that is the truth. It doesn't matter what other people say. However, this is not for everyone, because most people, we're civilized, we are liking to be blend with the society, the norm. We don't want to look as too unique. Unique is not good. I look odd. I look like oddball. You want to I want to be liked. I think when you're looking inward, to be favored and liked by everyone is a dangerous thing, because you will lose yourself like a puppet. And it's only when you look inwards, you love yourself, you enjoy yourself, even though you could be weirdo and strange at certain places. Great, beautiful. Keep it, nourish it, keep it strong, and use that particular lens, your own unique lens, and only you and nobody else in the world. We got gazillion of people on this planet, but only you with that special lens. And only when you hone in on that through time, you're able to see market certain empty slots that you have a saying, you have a unique perspective, you have a certain voice, and you hate certain things of doing, and you wish something could be done about it. That's the beginning of seeing opportunities. And whether that opportunity could become a wave, it depends on your ability to decipher history as well as the opportunity ahead through the new fast-changing technologies, and also societal movement and pivoting due to societal change or social media impact, etc. Behavior change. And you see that slot, that become the movement that you may be able to capture through your unique perspective and language.
Yeah. And the one thing I'll add to that too, Mickey, because we also mentioned it at that meetup earlier today, is that when it comes to learning how to surf or being a wave maker, everyone's in different stages. And everyone's approach is often going to be very different depending on who you are as a core. Some people thrive better in a self-mastery with complete focus in their room without any distraction. There's other people that thrive when there's fellow surfers around, so you can learn off each other, you can learn on different perspectives, and they have a different approach, and you can observe and you can adapt, and etc. And so giving yourself the space and grace to self-reflect, wait, what allows me to be in that flow? Is it independent? Is it with people like mind? And then knowing that, then leaning in on that. Is it without any distraction, or find the tribe that is your vibe? Right?
Yeah.
Because that will help accelerate for you to get from point A to point B, and learning how to really ride a wave that you want to ride in. Because wave is just a metaphor, but it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're creative, whether you're real estate, whether you're, whatever it may be, but it's applicable really in any beach.
Yeah, it is.
Principles are
Principles exactly the same.
They're not exactly the same. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think I particularly enjoy today's, I guess, the first Blue Vision, session. And I think with the like minds, that we all understand about frequency, at least have a taste of it.
Yeah.
And I think our meeting, just sharing stories, and I got actually sort of revisiting just all the transformation phases, because everyone that's at different stages. Everyone is thinking a different way, but we all speak the same language. And that makes it, then sharing their experience and then doing it a certain way, relatable.
Yeah.
And so I really applaud you for hosting this, and let's do more. And when I'm in LA, hopefully you'll see one there.
For sure. Also, gotta give credit where credit's due. We really co-hosted it together. It wasn't just me. So I appreciate you also helping hold a space to allow that to happen. So thank you for that. So I normally ask the question of time machine to my guests, but because you're a returning guest, I want to change it up.
Okay.
Because I've already asked you in episode 10 about if you had a time machine looking back at 10 years, what would you say to your younger self?
Yes.
So rather than asking that same question, I want to ask a different question today for this specific interview. And it's a question that we mentioned in the meetup, which is, what brings you joy in this present moment of your life?
That's a simple question. And I feel like it does change, because earlier today I've answered it. I think the mood is a little different. And I feel like the answer now is a little bit different too. I feel like I am joyful, that I can empower and bring light to others. And hopefully this issue that I'm coming up with this creative solution to this big gap will help millions of people. And that gave me joy because I have to give all I've got. And life is a journey in the process. And I really enjoy, day to day of now, waking up and stepping into the know and knowing that because I have a mission, I have a purpose, and go full force at it and not asking why. And it's actually quiet because I'm working inwards. I'm not looking at all these external fancy things. And that allows me to be at a good equilibrium peace. And therefore the joy is actually there much longer than previously. It's, tangible things like buying a bed, shopping, but you get 5 minutes of joy, it's gone. So I think, yes, at this present moment in time is be able to work something that I could see the best version of me coming out. And I think that's very, very cool.
I felt that, man. Thank you for sharing that, Mickey. So last question, Mickey, and wrapping this interview up is, where can our listeners find you?
Well, I do have a YouTube channel, but it's in Chinese, unfortunately. It's called Dreams Bloomer, BREAMS, Bloomer, BLOOMER. And the purpose of the channel is coming back to Taiwan. I love to empower other entrepreneurs and throughout their journey. So the channel is to share, my learnings and to help them along their journeys.
Got it. I'll include all of your social handles and whatever it may be on the show notes.
Sure.
So, one thing I will say is that knowing you and how much you give to your mentees and up-and-coming creatives, whether they want to build a career, whether they want to build a business, you have always been very generous. And I also want to be very mindful of how much energy you spend in that arena as well.
Yeah.
But, one thing I'll say, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but if through this interview, you feel captivated, or there's some energy pull that you feel, wow, there's something that Mickey's saying that I want to just know more, I would encourage, hey, feel free to just reach out, whether it's me, whether it's Mickey, because if we don't know the solution, we can definitely point you in the right way.
Absolutely. I definitely block out a certain amount of time weekly for any stranger that may be, because I love meeting strangers and be able to help them. And maybe they've been stuck for a year talking to me, maybe, 10 minutes and then the problem is solved. And that happens actually pretty often.
Yeah.
So I do really feel like I can be helpful. So guys, don't be shy, definitely reach out in this chat and just think of meeting a new friend and have fun.
Fantastic. Mickey, thank you so much for your time, for sharing this space with our audience today. I am so excited for you in terms of just the journey you're in right now, in this present, because I know the future is going to be beautiful, but just being mindful that in the present right now, you are creating the life that you dream of. And it's a beautiful observation, and it's beautiful to amplify that. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and cheers, and practice your intuition.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mickey.
Folks, I hope you all enjoyed today's follow-up interview with Mickey Liu. One thing I always appreciate about our guest today is that he's never shy of sharing his life journey authentically with all of his ups and downs. I feel the essence of what Mickey shared today is best summarized by this quote. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. This quote was by Rumi. Folks, I hope you allow yourself the space, the grace, and the courage to pause and look within, to ask yourself the question of, what brings me joy in this present moment? There is such high energy and vibration when you live a life joyfully, filled with love. I hope today's interview inspires you to be kind to yourself, and reflect on this question, as well as acknowledging yourself that you have the courage to create and attract that feeling of joy for yourself. You've got this. If you enjoyed today's interview, share this episode with who you feel can resonate with Mickey's story. Until next time, folks, be kind to yourself. Be in the light. Be you. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Boom Vision podcast. If you'd like to find out more about me and this podcast, head over to benjaminyeh.com. That's spelled BenjaminYeh.com. If you haven't already, click subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.